Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, you ready to cut some cardboard up?
Yeah.
Okay.
No guarantees it's gonna be straight though.
Well, yeah. Good evening. Where are you at? Grab a box. Come on, let's go. Whoa.
I know.
Good evening. We are cutting up boxes so we can. I'm about to tell them.
Oh, okay.
So we can lay down cardboard on top of the tarp we just pulled up. It looks good, but we want to make sure there's no other weeds that come through. So that's what we're doing now. Cutting it up, cutting all the boxes up that we can. Then we'll start laying it out. But we want to make sure we don't have any other weeds that pop up. So we're going to put a layer of cardboard down. You exhausted? They don't even... We haven't even told you guys all of the stuff that we've been doing around here.
Whew, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, we've had 7 days off plus.
Yeah.
To get some stuff done around here. And it's been kind of a first come, first served basis. But let's take all this stuff outside.
Sounds
Ready?
good.
Okay. I'll take these. Garden space is looking good. We've got some grass out here in the back end of it that needs to be covered in this area. So that's why we're going to lay down cardboard. We're going to be covering up the rows and the walkways, and then we're going to put wood chips down and we're going to put fresh compost on top. And I'm hoping that'll be all that we need to do for this whole year, but I'm not sure if it is or not. We'll just find out when we get there. The reason that we're putting the wood chips and the compost from over there on the garden is hopefully that, I don't know, the weeds will stay down this year. We had horrible weeds last year. We had horrible pests last year, but we had horrible weeds everywhere. And hopefully what that means this year is that we can kind of keep them at bay. What is this? What is this guy? Huh? What is that? I'm trying to get wood chips here and he's like, hey Dad. We're gonna try to keep the weeds at bay this year. Hopefully we'll have a better crop. And we did pretty good with our Brussels sprouts this year over the winter. Them and the kohlrabi. The kohlrabi and the Brussels sprouts did really, really well. But we just want to try to do a little bit better and basically get not a weed-free garden, but pretty close. We won't have as much time this year to come out and basically like weed the garden, so we're trying to be proactive this year and do preventative stuff, so hopefully we're not out here for hours on end trying to weed everything, because it's not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. So we're just gonna keep trying. Gonna try a different method. Last year we tried to do picking and mulching, but we didn't do mulching until the end of the season, so trying to get a head start this year. We're a little behind schedule, but I think we'll be okay. I think we'll make it. Better late than never. I think we'll make it, but we'll see. Gotta get the rake and rake out the mulch we just put down.
Look at that man using a rake. At least it ain't a hoe. At least it ain't a hoe. Rake it, baby, rake it. So, if you guys... Excuse me, Elvis. If you guys are new to our channel, you're probably wondering kind of what the dimensions are of our garden a little bit. So we've kind of done a lot of research here and there, different methods, different gardening methods, different ways to garden. We kind of just combined several different methods to to just kind of make our own and see what works. And if it doesn't work one year or one season, well, then we can change it. That's the nice thing about owning your own house. You can kind of do what you want with the property, except have exotic animals. But that's the nice thing about our specific zoning, is there are no ordinances on how big of a garden you can have, or what buildings you can have on your property, or how many animals you can have. So that's kind of the nice thing, and something to keep in mind if you are looking to start homesteading, or you're looking to get a different piece of property, or you already have some property and you're curious what all you can do on that property, is just go online to your county and click on your code of ordinances, and there you are able to go in and really see, you know, if you can only have a certain number of animals, or if there's certain types of animals you're not allowed to keep, like, you know, if you're not allowed to, or if you're only allowed to keep like 3 horses or whatever is going on, you can find those in your code of ordinances for your county. So that was a big thing that we did. The nice thing is we are a part of Dunn, but we're the next county over. So that's kind of the nice thing. Harnett County has a lot stricter laws than Sampson County, because Sampson County is the largest agricultural county in the state of North Carolina. So their farming and farm animal rules are very laxatious compared to other counties. So back to the garden. Sorry about that random rant. Back to the garden. So we have done our garden space here very similar to a market garden. So we have 18-inch walkways, and then we have 30-inch beds. So here we have 12 beds with 18-inch walkways in between, and initially we only had it 14 feet long. But last year we went ahead and lengthened it. So all of these beds are 36 feet long now instead. So we have 12 36-foot long beds. Then we also have one 4-foot wide. So all of our beds are 30 inches. We have one that is 48 inches that we have as our hedgerow. So there we have some different perennials planted in there. I'll plant some more annuals. Last year, that's where I planted some zinnias and some sunflowers, and those all did really, really well. It was great for welcoming in a lot of the different pollinators, and just really helped because we had those beautiful flowers in one part of the garden, and it really helped to bring all of the bees and all of the different pollinators that sometimes you don't really think about, like yellow jackets or birds, as well as different varieties of wasps. So that was the nice thing about having our hedgerow with the beautiful zinnias and the sunflowers, as well as some of our perennials, is it brought in all of those different bugs and butterflies, and they just really helped bring some great life into the garden. So this is our garden now, and it looks a little rough. We did not do any weeding this winter. We probably should have, but we did not. So we've got a row of Brussels sprouts and kohlrabi right here. We've harvested a little bit off of it. We'll probably harvest maybe 2 or 3 more times before we go ahead and pull them up. Then we've got a row of nothing but garlic. So that's over on the other side of this other tarp that we have not taken up yet. And then we still have some kale. We've let the lucinato kale go ahead and go to flower. So the nice thing about letting some of your winter crops go to flower is it's the first thing that bees will come to in the garden. So the bees are already out and about, but there's not much for them in terms of food. So like you have some trees that are starting to bud up, but none are really in flower yet because it's mid-March. But we have those flowers here. We have a couple different bushes on the property that are already in flower. I went ahead and let our arugula go ahead and go to flower as well. So we've got those in the garden that are flowering. I've got a pair of rabbits and a chicken and a tractor working on my garden because a large dog kennel is the perfect size for a 30-inch bed. So I've been moving them every 2 days. They've been weeding and adding fertilizer to the garden. That's a little bit more about our garden. Last year, we kind of tried to garden in a couple different places. Initially, when we bought our house in August, almost 2 years ago now, we went ahead and took the sod out of this whole front, the whole length of the house, basically 1,700 square feet. It did not do well at all. So we only planted like maybe just less than a half of it our first winter, and we did not add in any extra soil. We just planted in the garden in the soil we had, and nothing grew. And so that winter we let the chickens run on the far part over on the second half that we were not gardening in. We let the chickens in there. We put a compost pile in there. We put in some wood chips, and then we planted that garden in the spring, and it did really, really well because we had that nice rich compost that we had made over the winter. Now, last summer, we went ahead and expanded the garden on this half, and then we expanded the garden over by where the goats are now. And we had 3 rows over by where the goats are that were 50 feet long. And in 2 of the rows, we tried to do some different squash. I had 22 squash plants that went bananas. They went crazy. They were wild. And then the row beside it, we planted some cucumbers. Now they did pretty good too. I did can quite a few jars of pickles, and we ate lots of cucumbers. But we decided to go ahead and let that heal over. So this year we're gonna do things a little different. We're gonna use this main garden space, and then we're gonna use the raised bed over here. We're gonna build one more. We were planning on doing 4, but the cost of wood has gone up like 200%. It's insane. We are just going to use this garden space and then the 2 raised beds over there right now for this early spring and early summer garden. If you're new to gardening, like we were, you don't quite grasp the concept of the different seasons and how the garden looks with those different seasons. It's very different than what you expect. So like your spring garden looks very different from your summer garden, and your summer garden looks very different from your fall garden, and your fall garden looks very different from everything else, just because of where you are and how you have things planted. We are really going to focus on having the garden space used, but everything else is going to be turned into a paddock. And so with those spaces, we're really going to focus a lot more on cover crop and really enriching the forage and really rotating everyone to help make the soil and the grass that grows there better. Alright guys, well thank you so much for spending some time with us in the garden today. If you have not already, go hit that subscribe button, hit the like button down below, leave us a comment, and if you aren't already, go and hit that notification bell so that you're notified for every video we put out there. Thank you so much for watching today. We'll see you next time.